Good morning, Australia. There's Doc on this fine day. He's jumping around. Actually, he's quite content today, just like myself. Hope everyone had a good Christmas. Happy Boxing Day. Go Australia in the test. And I'd just like to start the day off and let people know there was a lady yesterday saying, letting everyone know on TikTok how her 38-year-old neighbour was duped into signing over his guardianship, which basically means this 38-year-old male was a victim of fraud. Basically what happened was, in hospital, the carer made him sign a form to say that she was guardianship. Now this is horrifying. I did some research. I looked up the guidelines. A carer can be a guardian in the case of an operation. Obviously, if the patient is incapable of making a decision because he's nearly dying, obviously someone has to make a decision. That can fall on the carer even. Or if there's no carer, then it will obviously fall on the medical practitioner. If something was to go wrong, however, medical practitioners can be sued. Therefore, I think I have found the final loophole that I've been looking for. If carers making wrong decisions, then based on what we know that how doctors can be sued over operations, and carers, I believe, can be sued for mistreatment now. But I have to see a lawyer about this in the new year, because I've spoken to a lawyer about this and there's no law covering people at the moment, like myself and that 38-year-old. Now what's horrifying about this is the NDIS actually encourages it. It encourages carers to get guardianship off a patient. So be aware, NDS participants. Which is the reason why I'm very lucky. I've got a good guardianship, which, someone in my family. Which is why I'm quite happy to serve with my present providers and people who look after me. Because you do need a good, stable group behind you. Because I did warn, in fact, have a discussion at pain management about this very subject with Dr. Bazina last year, in regards to how easy people are coming in to the hospital with patients. Just basically, they look like anyone off the street. I mean, there's no uniform. Most people, carers don't have a uniform. They don't have ID. I think it should be mandatory now that all carers show a form of ID when they go in and as participants, so that the hospital have a record of who's coming out. Now, in my case last year, to go and see Dr. Bazina, Dee Scaife never showed up in the hospital. She, in fact, stood out this very backyard right here. There's a spot. Blocking my entrance to get out, to go and get the cab. Very much that was Muhammad, my taxi driver, who they have tried to set up in this neighbourhood. He hasn't been paid for 3 months' work because next door put him in. Now, at this very spot was where Dee Scaife stood and blocked my entrance and said, "What do you need to go and see Dr. Bazina about? She doesn't know what she's talking about." That is a very fact. On top of that, on the last time, I think you know how much laughter it was when my carer, and she's a very nice lady, I've got nothing against her, but she was not registered. And there's quite a lot of people not registered under this person's name. I don't know her surname, but Priya. And there's connections with, you'll be shocked, Apollo Blinds. Yeah, that's correct, you've heard me, Apollo Blinds. Joe, Priya, my neighbours. So there's your example. Now, I can name other names also in relation to this debacle at Liverpool Hospital that were coming in that should never have been allowed to come into the hospital. First of all, Cherie, the very first bloke that went in to see Dr. Redmond. Other people, well, Asha Sharma, she went along to the hospital, but also didn't go into the hospital. Yeah, like I said, there was Dee Scaife tried to stop me from going to the hospital. Then there was Abdul Khan, who was the only person Dr. Bazina let in, because I think she clued onto it. He was given a specific task, and because he never carried out the task, it was merely to take me to a medical appointment, which he never did. Now, a lot of these cases, people have not taken me any medical appointments. Not once have they stepped in, but they've rocked up to the hospital. In fact, Dee Scaife actually rocked up in the hospital, followed the cab, and went home. Never went in the hospital. Neither did other carers in the past. So that is a fact. And like I said, this was one of the discussions we had at pain management. I had a discussion. I've also had that similar discussion at the Bass Hill Medical Centre as well. So that gives you a clue of a couple of names. Now, I urge that a neighbour to come forward and name the provider, please. I have my suspicions who they are, but because I've dealt with these people. In fact, my neighbour, that's the one behind me at number 5 there, yeah, was trying to get me into a nursing home. That is a very fact as well. Now, what is interesting is I've mentioned that there is a nursing home involved in this. People they need to speak to around here are Latilla, next door's carer. He went into care for next door. In fact, all the home care carers that have gone down to see number 5 and number 4 that were Lebanese. Ironically enough, the carers that are coming down now are not Lebanese, because I think they know I'm onto them. And that's a fact, they know I'm onto them because now they don't have Lebanese carers. I also was told not to go up to, as you know, Chester Hill. Well, that's because I know Anna works up there and very much has a lot to do with this as well. They're all connected, like I've said. That's why they failed us. Even to today, I am still waiting to see my neighbours. I have not seen some of my neighbours in 5 years. Yet they live behind me and have barbecues and yell out and say, yeah, well, I'd like to meet my friends, and it's complete torture. But they're allowed to yell out, because they're allowed to yell out. If I yell out and just me by myself with my rabbit, they'll call the cops. But they know very well what's going on, and now I live in fear. I live in fear every day, coming the Christmas holidays now, because of these cowards. Actually, put it out there that there are cowards in Bass Hill because they know these people names and they're actually scared of these people. It's all connected, like I said. And I say, while you're at it, go and raid Sefton Playhouse, because that's where you'll probably find some of the NDS carers that are going into the hospital. Now, I did warn people know, they don't warn the hospital. So, that these sort of people are going to the hospital. I've also did more research on the subject of guardianship. In fact, it's only valid for a year, or 3 years. So they don't have complete control over your finances. It's only for a period of 1 to 3 years. You can go to the guardianship board. You definitely can do that, and lodge a complaint. And they should investigate it. So yes, please go to guardianship tribunal, but this has horrifyingly been encouraged by the NDIS. And this is a worry. The providers are not medically, as you know, a lot of providers, pretty much no provider is medically qualified or got medical certification, whatever the word is. Half of the carers are, well, ain't even up to caring standard. And that's no disrespect to those that are, because there's a lot that are very good carers, but half of them are from overseas and can barely speak English. Half of them work in factories or are friends of people who work in factories. And it's quite alarming. So, and also I don't want to blame hospital staff, but I believe the hospital staff could be threatened. It's quite easy if I'm standing there attending a patient that I know is dying or unconscious or needs emergency, and the carer that's caring for this particular person I know is a criminal, I'll be scared for my life too. And a lot of these people, and a lot of the hospital staff do know these people are criminals. Into the NDIS. This is why a lot of them don't even have it. This is why uniforms are not encouraged. But they should all be encouraged. ID should be encouraged. These people don't even have a proper ID to show that they're carers. Now wake up yourself, Bill Shorten. Wake up yourself, Albanese. I mean, I've said all along that tender loving care also need to be investigated because of their connection with Penny Wong and the physio, and the fact that Mohammed Barry, and I can name him because everyone knows he wrote out false invoices over the Christmas period last year, paying the likes of Dee Scaife, and yet these people's. Yet my poor physio, wonderful man and family, I call him Fred from Flexi Physio, he still hadn't got paid. And I had to sacrifice, that's right, I had to give up one of my physio sessions because I thought it was the right thing to do, so Fred would get paid. And yet these people ring me up, like Alex Kay rang me up, this is when they did this podgy door, still hasn't been fixed, this doorway. That was set up by the council, and Abdul Khan and David Khan. They set all this fraud up here with Daniel, the lawyer, and I get a phone call from Alex Kay saying, if you don't pay me well, I've got a family to feed. Alex Kay is an absolute crook. So I just want people to know this in my video. Now that it is Boxing Day, it also happens to be 41 years since I first ventured into Liverpool, Bankstown Hospital at the age of 14, off a B-52 bomber, all the way from Shellhaven, I can't even forget where it was now, up near Evans Head Hospital, somewhere up there, and anyway, it's a very emotional time. Because it was the first time I was in Liverpool, Bankstown Hospital. And that's where you can get hospital trauma, I call it. But yeah, so I've suffered hospital trauma. And now my neighbours are still causing trauma. So I thought I'd make this video. Wishes all the very best Boxing Day. Go Australia again in the cricket. And Happy New Year.